Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Patrons video today that I'm checking out for wudi as part of their custom monthly music review. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen from an act named BAND-MAID titled Play. I'm going to listen through it from start to finish. We're going to hear what we think. Let's go. Live performance. And clearly a very tight act. It's just so fantastic to have such a detailed instrumental section before even getting to the story part of the track. The crowd going along with it. I mean, it's just such fantastic rapport with the crowd as well. They know their audience. They know how to interact with them. They're having a great time on stage, and the performance overall is really tight. And it just flows. It's wonderful, man. Tremendous. Great effort. I think they're a fantastic act. I enjoyed listening to them play. I haven't heard much BAND-MAID, or BAND-MAID, should I say? Not BAND-MAID, that's a very different thing. I want to hear more of them. We're going to talk about this track more in the conclusion. Because welcome to the conclusion of my review of this track from an act named BAND-MAID titled Play. Now, what do I think this track is about? I'm not sure, because I think it, if I'm not mistaken, it may be in Japanese. I mean, there were some parts I think they were in English. Like, I think I was saying shut up at some part. I could have also just assumed that most of it was in Japanese and then maybe missed some key English parts. But either way, I was listening, don't worry. I think that either way, I'd probably want to have a look through the lyrics in my own time to sort of figure stuff out. But on a first listen basis, with the understanding I didn't get everything, I still nonetheless appreciate the style of vocals we had there. The singer was incredibly charismatic. It was fantastic to listen to. No, definitely there was. I was tripping for a moment because I heard some parts in English, but a lot of it was in Japanese. I was just making sure. I think that the vocals were fantastic, incredibly charismatic. There was a great sense of energy with the low and high range there, great vocal technique there, bit of vocal fry occasionally, a bit of a roar to it. We went up in that high range really neatly as well. I think we also had one of the musicians as a backing vocalist there, as a kind of softer layer in the sides there. I think that was great as like a way to kind of like, maybe had a call and response to it. And you also had the crowd going, hey, which is another vocal element in this track because of how well the chemistry is handled with it. And I think that the song was, sung well. There's a lot of sort of range to the performance regards to the mic, and I think that we nailed it. The track itself of More Than It's 31 was incredibly well textured. We had that instrumental section for like the first minute or so, and it's a testament to our self-awareness of the singer to allow the bass drums and guitar to be able to handle themselves during that period. We had different verses and chorus and sections. We had parts where the drums could have sort of different sort of solo sections, and so could the bass guitarist, and so could the guitarist, and they explored their instruments well within the track and were incredible to listen to as well. I think that ultimately it was a track where it wasn't just about the story that was being told by the vocalist, it was also a show of both skill and a creative proficiency on behalf of everyone involved to be able to allow those quite complex guitar, bass, and drum parts to intertwine with the story, to not take away from it, but to sort of elevate the overall experience as a whole. If I talk about a few of the instruments I really appreciate, the guitar lines as well, the rhythm playing was incredibly tight. The soloing, there were some of the lead parts there was tremendous. They were very competent with our very sort of like Karen pull-off, sort of bendy kind of like legato techniques there. But we also understood to allow space for some of the bass and drum parts to come through into like dun-dun-dun-dun. We had like a great sense of groove with the rhythm style as well, with the power chords and drop tone bits there. We had different riffs as well there. There was diversity within the harmonies and chord progressions there as the main sort of like harmonic element, with being the guitar, of course. And there was a great tone to it as well. There was nice and present in the mix. It was just really tight. We did really well with that. But it was also the bass. The bass there, we didn't just play the root notes of those chords. We went and explored our fretboard. We went up into the high ranges as well as in the low parts. And I think ultimately it's just really satisfying. You have a bass player who understands that they don't just need to do like the foundational support work there. They can play in time with the drum kit, but then they also have their own time to shine there, find a space within the arrangement and different parts to be able to explore themselves and add, and again, further elevate it. And I thought ultimately it was very satisfying in that regard as well. The drum parts were tremendous, incredibly proficient on the kit there. Thorough examination of like the very simple snare and kick parts were tremendous double kick parts there, triplets and sixteenths and stuff like that. We had great sort of fill work and tom work as well. Very comfortable with not only pocketing when need be, but also allowing ourselves to sort of play more sort of like complicated bits when there is space and transitions to do so. We also knew to sort of step back a little bit and allow room for other instruments as well. Again, there was great chemistry between the band members, and overall the performance was very solid. I think that the theme overall, the composition represented, it was like a sense of glory with some of the higher like lead passages there, the harmonies up above. It was very regal and sort of defiant and play almost like you're invited to play the game and win it. I think that some of the chord choices as well, the rock kind of the aggression there, but it was like a sort of a fancy sort of sophistication, like a fancy aggression to it. It was like it was trying to uplift and motivate you and be catchy as well as energizing at the same time. And just the tightness of the grooves and the bass and drums as well as the expression up in the fretboard, combined with the versatility and variety of different ideas in the guitar parts, with predominantly sort of like power chordal bits there, but lots of color when the scales and modes came in with the harmonies. It was just tremendous. It was a great track, I think, ultimately. We didn't overcomplicate it, but we played exactly as much as we needed to without a note out of place. Tremendous live performance. The studio recording, mixing and mastering results tight. There was a nice sort of fresh briskness to the sound of the drums, the bass, and the guitars, as well as the vocals that were handled really well. I think the leveling was top notch. No weird resonant frequencies in the frequency spectrum, so things were nicely niched there. Things were nice and wide in the stereo field as well. There's nothing superfluous about it. There was dynamic range to it as well. Things weren't the same loudness all the time, but it was still it's still a tight mix. The bus compression and limiting was handled, and effectively this is my review of this track from an act named BAND-MAID titled Play, and hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, please do go show them some love via the various social medias and the YouTube page, and stay cool and stay safe, and please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as I need the hell more than ever thought of crazy stuff going on in the world, and I will catch you in the next SC Patrons video. Spiderhands out.